Okay, we're going to go to the next one. This is the number one most important thing I'm going to talk about today, and it applies to every single movement that you do, which is core bracing. Okay? Now, anatomically, we have our abs. Mine are awesome. Then we have, I was talking to, I was in the warm-up room, and Noah Olson was there. And I said, Noah, are you upset about what they're saying about us? And he's like, oh, what are they saying? I'm like, oh, they're just saying, like, my abs might be a bit better than yours. And I just want to make sure that that's okay. Anyway, you've got abs in front. You've got obliques going this way underneath those. You've got obliques going the opposite way underneath those. And underneath those, you've got a curtain of muscle. Okay? Now, that curtain of muscle, that's really going to be the most important bit here. When we talk about core, don't listen to anyone who tells you the core is the three muscles, not the multifidus and the diaphragm. No, it's everything that exists between your ribs and your pelvis, okay? There's a whole bunch of muscles there, but the one that gives you the most leverage is the one at the bottom, that big curtain right underneath, okay? So the most important thing to get first is your breathing, okay? So if you put one hand on your chest, you put one hand on your stomach, and you take big breaths, you should feel that the only thing happening is your stomach is moving in and out, okay? There's two ways that we breathe, and your lungs are actually just complete passive tissues that are stuck to your rib cage, and they're stuck to your diaphragm, and they just react to changes in pressure, okay? One way that you change the pressure is you contract your intercostal muscles between your ribs. Ribs come up, you breathe into your chest, right? That's how we breathe most of the time. That's fine, yeah? We're never going to change how you breathe every day. Same thing, you're never going to change how you walk every day. So never try to do that either. But the second way is we contract our diaphragm, which is a dome right here. The dome comes down. That sucks your lungs down. Your stomach bulges out. When your stomach bulges out, now you have something to push against with those larger muscles. When you're here, they have nothing that they can do other than slightly compress, okay? But if you can push out, you can bulge, then you can brace against that. You get much, much more pressure, okay? So core, diaphragm, all the muscles in between your ribs and your pelvis, your pelvic floor at the bottom, right? I'm not a pelvic floor specialist, but when it comes to, the girl who runs my clinic is a pelvic floor specialist, and when it comes to things like incontinence or peeing when you deadlift or like peeing when you jump or something like that for the ladies, none of that is normal. It all indicates that you do have some type of dysfunction going on there. 100% get it checked out, because if we think of all this pressure that you're creating here, and guys is the same. Like if you fart in the bottom of squats, like this is a big, big pressure leak that comes out the bottom, like in terms of the muscles relaxing, not the actual air coming out, but the muscles relax, and then you no longer have that core bracing. All that pressure goes straight down. And then we talk, one, it's got significant performance limitations, but two, it's obviously got health limitations. So we're here and here, okay? Breathing into the stomach. Most people who've been lifting for a few years understand breathing into the stomach and how you brace into that, okay? What most people don't understand is that bracing is not just breathing out the front. You have to find a way to breathe into your back as well, okay? So really quick drill for that. If you get onto all fours, and I like to use, for the first time when people are doing this, I like to put a plate on their back, but you'll get the principle anyway. You're gonna go onto your elbows, and from here, we want to take big breaths so that you feel the stomach expand towards the ground, and you feel your back rise towards the ceiling, okay? So everyone watch me quick, because there's an incorrect way to do this. And although very sexy, not very efficient in terms of breathing, right? So we're not changing the angle of our pelvis, right? Your pelvis stays neutral, but when you take a big breath, it comes into your back as much as it does your stomach, okay? So watching again. Okay, not this, yeah? Sexy, but it ain't it. We'll do that after, yeah? Post-seminar party.
We've got some good music for you.
Yeah, good. Okay, so everyone feel it. Now the important thing here is if you're not used to doing this, you will not be good at it today. But it's intention over time, yeah? Muscular control takes 4 to 6 weeks, and that is the time and the patience that you need to have when you learn something new like this, okay? It's even something that you can do when you're in your car, right? Now, when you're practicing this one, the reason that we go down onto the elbows is because it's important to have rib cage tied down to front of pelvis. If like a lot of women, because you have a larger lumbar curve in general, a lot of women when you go to squat, you start in this position, and it's not a bad thing. It's just how you're built. But when you're in this position, there's no room to breathe back there, so everything just goes out front, and then you're kind of like this, and it's really hard, one, to hit depth, but two, to hold a good brace the whole time. So for a lot of people who look a bit extended, a lot of guys are this way too, to be honest. People who look extended, my cue to them is to tuck the pelvis underneath you first and then go from there, okay? Because then you actually have room to breathe, okay? Let's hit a couple more sets. Breathing pattern when you deadlift. No, a couple more sets of deadlifts. You're right. But breathing pattern, when you're doing large movements like this, when it comes to performance, and big caveat to everything I say today, and as someone in the health field, health and performance are not the same thing. If you're going for the healthiest way to do something, it's different than going for the most efficient and best performance way to do something. Second caveat, being here, doing it this way for performance is a fucking 1,000 times better than being on the couch, yeah? So, breathing pattern, if you can breathe when you're standing, always do that. Big breath, pick up, and we always breathe when we're up here, okay? Because here, the force on our back is directly up and down, and we're really, really strong that way. Where we're not strong is when we come down here, okay? And the force is now trying to bend, yeah? If you can't, and say you need to put straps on the bar, whatever it is, the second best is to raise your hips up, to give yourself a lot of space. When your hips are up, okay? Always keep that breathing pattern, yeah?
I tend to lose my break. So if I brace standing up before my deadlift and I get into position, I lose it.
How long are you down there for?
Well, probably like five or 8 seconds before I pull.
5 or 8?
Yeah, maybe, I don't know, right in there.
That's a good range. Interesting. 5 or 8. That's a long time to hold your breath. Yeah. Why are you down there for so long?
Because I'm mentally preparing to like rip it up.
I would say, I know you compete soon, I would say learn to mentally prepare when you're standing. Yeah? Because seriously, like if you take a big breath and then you're down here, and you're like 1, 2, 3, 4, like no, you'll be cooked.
It's not 8 seconds, maybe it's like 5. It feels like a long time. Yeah, is it like 5?
If it feels long, then it's
But
probably too long.
what it should be, what it should be is, and Ed Cohen, really famous powerlifter, loves to talk about this. It should be just big breath, brace, and then for me, I get one hand, wiggle, go. There's not much reason to take more time down there. You're not more prepared because you're closer to sea level. Yeah. Okay. Let's work on that breathing pattern. Yes.
Could you show what it looks like for reps? Because I've seen people breathe like big at the top, and then I just want to know what is the best way because I'm not breathing at the top.
Yeah, and CrossFit guys, this becomes a big challenge. Yeah, when like you're doing an event that's like 40, 50 reps, that's different. Yeah, that's different. Where you have to breathe, you're gonna pass out. Yeah, I suppose it goes without saying, breathe when you're doing 50 reps. But when it comes to doing, say, sets of 3 or sets of 5, for me, it's 2 things. Are you gonna pass out, and is your head gonna explode? If both of those are a no, breathing pattern should be, yeah, you'll see it's actually unbelievable if you do a heavy lift, say a 90% 1RM, and then you breathe and brace at the top. It is unbelievable how much easier that second rep feels. Yeah. The only time you can't do it in the strongman world, if you're in a suit, is because, again, your head will explode. You'll have a stroke. All right, let's hit a couple more warm-ups. I'm hoping we're getting towards that 60, 70%. We've only got really 1 or 2 more things to talk about here, all right? How's the breathing feel?
Yeah, it's different.
Can we breathe? Yeah? Into your stomach, into your back.
I haven't done this way yet.
No. So the best check is if you're doing it and you look in a mirror, you just have to look at your shoulders. And like you'll see what you're doing right now is like part comes in here, it's good, and then you're like, it's good. Yeah. But it's a learning process. Yeah, learning process, just intentional practice. And it's awesome to practice when you're sitting in a car or something, because when you're sitting, you have to be posteriorly tilted, so you have some room to breathe into your back. So just practicing that, hugely beneficial.
Can you watch like one?
Yeah, of course. Stop, pause there. Breathe at the top. Big breath. Good, go from there. Yeah, yeah, breathing pattern, that's what we're looking for. Yeah, all of you, when it comes to deadlift, we're about to talk about this area. All of you have what to do.
What that needs to be done is there, up the top.
Yeah, and your lockout. You're a CrossFitter, you guys don't really lock it out, to be honest. But you're like, you get stuck like here. Sorry, no, like here. Yeah, we're like, we prefer you there, right? Because if we're saying breathe at the top, and your top is, even though you get reps for it, even if your top is here, you're putting a lot of effort in while you're breathing, right? But for me, as soon as I'm here, other than my hands, I can stay here all day.
Yeah.
I'm sweet.
And so just all you feel is in your hands eventually.
Is the grip, yeah. But if you're saying like you're doing several reps, like say you're doing a set of 10 and you're at 8 and it starts getting heavy, it'd be fucking awesome if you could stand here, take that big brace, go down and up. Take that big brace, down and up. And you get those extra couple and you don't have to waste the time of putting it down.
How often do you do like when say you're doing sets of 5, how often do you do where you breathe at the top and then you kind of touch and go versus just dead stop off the ground?
I don't touch and go ever.
Ever, yeah.
I breathe at the top, go down, stop.
Oh, okay, so it's
up.
always
So it's a 2-3 second.
Yeah, okay.
In a perfect world, but sometimes you're out of breath, and just practically it makes no sense.
Yeah.
Right. In which case you put it down, hips high, breathe, and then drop back in. Yeah.
This might be a silly question, but what about just like finishing the rep and then like not breathing out of the top?
As in breathing out of the bottom?
Yeah.
You can, but it's secondary. It's not as good, right? Because in essence, you just have to think, how much space do I have here to breathe? You have a lot more space here than you do here.
Yeah.
But I was just saying to
I
them,
feel the
sometimes,
difference in like how much air was like filling at the top versus when I was trying to do it at the
yeah, it's massively different. But sometimes there's a practicality to it, and that's what I was just saying. If you're really out of breath, sometimes you just got to put it down.